what's on the menu for Bear.
Princess Bear here. Today we're at EPCOT for the International Flower and Garden Festival because I have a ravenous bear appetite.
We're gonna eat all of the new food for the bear.
Yes, it's number one choice in foodie infotainment. I'm here to try all the food, so she doesn't have to, because remember, she's vegan, I'm not. Let's eat some plants.
It's time to foodie and chill.
Florida Fresh is starting off right with this strawberry shortcake. You have little cake, the crumbles on top, little strawberry bits, and these strawberries in sauce. Because what's more Florida than fresh Florida strawberries? Look at that. I don't usually like syrupy fruit, but in this case, it'll do. I like the whip, I like the crumble. Cake is nice and moist, as it should be. Starting off fresh. Literally fresh. I give that 4 out of 5 claws. Florida Fresh giving us this blackened fish slider. You get this tasty looking thick hunk of fish on top of a fried tomato. You have the lettuce on here, a nice soft bun. This is almost a full sandwich. You are definitely pushing the definition of slider, but that's not going to stop me from sliding it in my mouth. A little bit of tasty remoulade on there. I like the deft hand and using blackened seasoning. Sometimes you get people that take the term blackened too far, and it's so covered you no longer recognize what you're eating anymore. This is the right amount of like that blackened flavor, not too salty, but just enough to let the fish shine through. And with the tomato and the remoulade, that is indeed a tasty fish. I could do with several more of these on a plate. Like a slider flight. A fish slider flight? Fish slider flight. Somebody should do that. Give that 4.5 out of 5 claws. The Nectar booth from here at Flower Garden, right next to Living with the Land and the Butterfly Garden. We get a tuna poke bowl. This actually massive portion for a festival booth. I've got avocado, seaweed salad, this tuna with the spicy mayo on top, rice, and edamame. Now it does normally come with mango, but they're made to order, luckily for me, so they were able to omit the mango so that I may partake. And honestly, for something that I was only barely aware of, I'm actually kind of excited to eat this. This is good. I may have a favorite festival item. You never know. Tons of the seaweed salad, nice ripe avocado. Look at that tuna. The sesame seed, the rice, the edamame. Ooh, that is a meal on a fork. The tuna could be a little bit better, a little bit fresher, but honestly, it's leagues better. Now, I'm expecting this to be absolute tuna hot garbage, like from the waters of some polluted city bay, like maybe Tampa, level polluted, but it's fresh. The avocado is nice. Plenty of seaweed salad. Normally, I feel like they skimp you on that. And edamame. This is an entire meal in a bowl, and I'm actually quite happy with this. Even if it's not like the most exotic item, I think that it's an awesome festival edition. This is my starting plate or finishing plate for the day. This could be dinner even. I would give this 4.25 out of 5 claws. This gets the bare stamp of approval. Not a bare necessity, but a bare stamp of approval at the very least.
Shout out to Festival Bakery Chef Amanda for another beautiful vegan option. I love the presentation. I think it's gorgeous. My only issue is the spoon in here. I guess because there's not a lot in here. The previous years it was a lot, but it's hard to get everything when you have it in such a small flute. I think a little wider flute would be nice. I don't mind this. It's very creamy. It almost gives me that blood orange topping that they have on the lemon tart in the Odyssey. This is that topping, but a little bit more enhanced. And I like the cookie. I think the cookie is nice and crunchy, and I love the matcha crumble. I just don't know about like the raspberry. I don't know what I would do to change it though. Maybe like a peach or just something different that doesn't remind me of something else that's already here. But on its own, it's still beautiful. And yeah, maybe a different serving bustle. That would be nice too. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 desserts.
De parfait. This is giving me throwbacks to the Mousse Terrarium that they have here at Flower and Garden when it was actually vegan festival and festivals ago, because you have this matcha crumble on top, which is just like the one they have at Charles and Charlotte's. Is just not vegan anymore. But go ahead and dive right in here. I got a little edible floral, the parfait itself, and the raspberry on top. I like this. There's some layers to it, but the raspberry like topping is really tart, which sort of like takes away from the yogurt itself. It's a little overpowering. I feel like it's a little out of balance, but it's still very good taste, flavor. I like the crunches in it, and the matcha gives it just this extra oof, like a puff of magic, if you will. It's nice. I feel like over time in festival, when the ratios get a little bit more consistent, it'll be a lot better. But honestly, I think it's something you should get. I would give it 3.75 out of 5 claws. A goat cheese croissant, as only France could do. Look at this massive boy. It's less croissant and more mini football, but anything topped goat cheese is better, right? Goat cheese top and partially filled. A little bit of goat cheese in there, a little bit on top. Nice flake croissant, warm goat cheese. You get a little bit of funk and a lot of good funky bread. It's a nice balance. Goat cheese is already really strong flavor. But you know what? It's trying to be the goat, and I don't mind that. I'd give that 4 out of 5 claws. Here you have the Tarte des Oignons Caramel. It's got caramelized onion tart. Onions baked in the crust, topped with tons of the crispy bacon. So crispy, it's already fallen apart, and I've barely touched her. The onion is strong with that one. Very strong. It's like bread, onion, bread. A little bit of cheese. Bacon. The bacon's like a hairpin on top of like a beret? Beret, something? Yeah, beret. Oh, it's good. If you like onion, it's strong for me. I don't think I'm going to eat too much more, but it's a tasty tart. I give that 3.75 out of 5 claws. Here we have the Canard Confit. So duck confit with a little bit of mushroom rosemary sauce, and then like a herb polenta cake on the side to go with it. And then you got plenty of like extra dirt rooms to go on top. I'm gonna get some of this gamey duck, plenty of the sauce, and spirits a little bit of this creamy herbed polenta. That is a forest bed of duck. Equal parts gamey and earthy. You already have like sauteed mushrooms on top. You get the mushroom rosemary sauce, so you're getting like earthy and then that rosemary flavor, and then the duck. I think it's almost too much. I'm getting more mushroom and rosemary than I am the duck. And if you're gonna go to Canard Confit, I want duck first, everything else second. It has potential, but I feel like it's just too much swinging in one direction. I would give it 2.75 out of 5 claws. They've had far better duck dishes here in France. Fresca booth is back here at Flower and Garden. Now they do have a brand new item, the ceviche. The ceviche has mango in it and is pre-made, so I couldn't get that. So I had to lower myself. When I say lower, I mean elevate myself to the best chicken in all of Walt Disney World, at least it was last year. The jerk chicken and the pigeon pea with the little plantains. This was a gift last year. If they've ruined it, I will be upset. I might actually cry on camera for the first time ever. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Just gonna dive in with some fingies. That chicken. Let it cover it. The jerk seasoning. Sometimes I can't be sure if it's the EPCOT music loop that has me moving or the food. In this case, I think it's very much the food. That jerk chicken is still jerking you around with that heat. I'm sitting there right now like a 7.5 out of 10 on the heat scale. It is spicy, but a good sort of spice. It's kind of spice that maintains the flavor. The chicken is cooked excellent. Pigeon pea rice. A little dry, what goes excellent, especially when you add in the plantains. You can use that to help mitigate some of the flames I got going on in my mouth right now. I thought I have a fire in my soul, but I'll take one in my mouth instead. That is excellent. Excellent jerk chicken. They should be proud. I would give that 4.25 out of 5 claws.
Even though you're watching one long video, we've been doing this over 3 days now, and I gotta say, I'm crowning this as my festival bay. Get this. Just as consistently delicious as the first one that I tried. I hope they keep this one around for a while. Because sometimes they do it up in Castro Grill. They'll put all the extras up there. So I'd love that. Or Yisake. Would love that too. I got 4. I'm eating all 4.
The secret is to get food away from the princess is you put food in one hand and put the camera in the other. Then she can't stop me from stealing one of the curry buns. I honestly can't tell what I like more. The crust and the consistency, that crunch, or the curry inside, but it's all so wonderful. We're gonna eat a lot of these while they exist here in Japan Pavilion. I need more. Different flavors, different consistencies, seasonal ones. I want it all. 5 out of 5 claws. Still on the Bare Necessities list. These are a wonderful addition. I want more. As if trying to make up for missing Mardi Gras, as underrepresented as it is here at Walt Disney World, the Magnolia Terrace gave us a blackened shrimp po' boy covered in that remoulade, tomato, and you got some lettuce on a bun. Bun's not toasted, but you get 3 super thick shrimpies, sea roaches if you will. We're gonna try to take a bite of this big loaf of bread they gave me. I haven't had a whole lot of luck with shrimp at EPCOT lately for any festival, but this one is actually kind of good. I feel like they could have ratcheted up the spice a little bit because the blackened seasoning imparts little to no spice. It is spicy, covered in spices, but no sort of like kick. Nothing unique, no roundhouse kick to the face, nothing like that. And the remoulade comes off more mayo adjacent than actual like remoulade. It's still a very good sandwich. I just feel like it needs all the flavors dialed up maybe to like 11, whereas currently they sit at like a 6. All in all, I'm giving it a 3.75 out of 5 claws. You can do worse, but I do expect better. We have the Bananas Foster from the Magnolia Terrace. We got the banana caramel covered little pastry here. For all of you vegetarians, I'm sorry. It feels like all of your options are either cheese or sweets. I will make the sacrifice play just for you guys. Not because I want them or anything, just for you. I want to foster this thing at home in my belly. It's where it lives now, or I live in it. That is tasty, decadent, sticky, warm, all the things you want. Just the right amount of banana, just the right amount of caramel. That is a tasty dessert. Top tier, even for America. Do that. 4.25 out of 5 claws. Tina, I'm talking directly to you. Italy booth. We have beef. This ensalada de pasta with apple, raisins, scallions, almonds, honey, and lemon dressing sounds like the worst version of something we've allowed to show up to the cookout. What in the world is this? I see the slivers of almonds. I see the raisins. I see apple slices. This has got to be the world's most ridiculous looking pasta salad. No, absolutely not. If you showed up to my house with this, I'd kick you out. I'd bang you for life. It'd be the first time I blocked somebody live in person. This is ridiculous. Italy, get yourself together. Because terrible. Terrible. How are you consistently known to be the worst booth at any EPCOT festival? I almost feel like a joke at this point. It ain't funny no more. 1 out of 5 flaws. The refreshment outpost, again, having its usual festival identity crisis. Even us have long called it the African refreshment outpost, even though it's literally the name is the refreshment outpost. They just frequently served African themed items, and when we do get an African booth, it goes right across the way. This is the Nigerian beef pie with a little of papaya drizzle on top. It is messy, even the base of the boat that it sits in is covered in that papaya drizzle. But it is a thick, thick, thick beef pie, reminiscent of an empanada, just much, much thicker. Because everything in Nigeria is bigger and better. I don't make the rules. It's definitely given a Nigerian beef pie. It's got those flavors of like the subtle spice, but then a little bit of cinnamon to give it that hint of sweet. So it's like that sweet, savory beef inside of a crispy, crunchy shell of the beef pie. It was already cracked before I nommed it, and with that big rare bite, it just cracked even more. Down the backside, I would probably need a fork to finish the rest of this, but it is a tasty meat pie worthy. It makes me miss the Impossible beef patty we had a few years ago. This is equally as good. I wouldn't say better, different. I would give this 3.5 out of 5 claws.
Here, and I did check it, and it is vegan. How sweet is that? But it is very, what's the word? Popular. And it is also a victim of cross-contamination. So if you have allergies, beware of that. There is a place that used to exist, doesn't exist anymore. That was in, I want to say Lake Forest, California. It was called Mandarin Dynasty, and it was like the restaurant I used to go to with my family all of the time. And they served these super unique bananas that I've not been able to find anywhere else. They were like, they had 2 different kinds. They had one that was like a caramelized, like this one. And then they had another one that was like covered in powdered sugar, but also crispy, and they were served warm. And they were like one of my favorite desserts that we got there. This is taking me back to that. And since strawberry is my favorite fruit, like I can't not love these. These are amazing. These are a 5 out of 5. These are a Princessities item. I think if you like a refreshing fruit that has a nice little bit of char to it, almost gives you like a creme brulee without all of the like cream and stuff. This is nice. I love this.
A sort of triumphant return of these candied strawberries, and now with grapes here at the Flower and Garden Festival. For those of you that have been for years and years, I think going back as far as 2017, 2018, may have been before we started YouTube, they had a whole thing of just candied strawberries on a stick, and we have been waiting for these to return. This is stickiest of the icky, massive strawberries. I'm gonna take the rest of the princess strawberry and the grape. It is candy coated, so there is sort of like a candy shell, not like too hard, I don't think you're gonna knock out a filling or anything. But do be warned, some of the pieces are a little sharp. Not as sharp as a candied pork belly from Halloween Horror Nights I have some forgiven them for from years ago. But it is candied. Yes, there's still like green tops on top of the strawberry. Some people care about that, some people don't. To me, it tastes fine. This is a delectable treat, and I detect or prophesize, fortune tell, that this is going to be one of the most popular items from the festival this year. I would give this 4.25 out of 5 claws. If you see me sneaking away the booth with an armful like 4 or 5 of these, mind your business. As has become a staple for the Mexico booth for every single festival, we get a brand new taco. This time it is a tacos de calamar. That means it is a calamari taco. You have the crispy calamari in here with some fried garlic topped in sauce. There's also some fried garlic in here as well. You see little bits of it in there. You're gonna come away with garlic breath, but you gotta ask yourself at the end of the day, are you really gonna let a little bit of foodie auxiliary breath stop you from enjoying yourself? The answer should be no. That pasilla aioli really sells the entire dish. Normally, I'm a calamari hater. I feel like usually it's fried crispy nothing. It's crispy with a little bit of chewy meat inside, and I believe in most cases it's either super greasy and not worth it, or both. In this case, with that fried garlic and that pasilla aioli, that is a treat. Just crispy enough. The sauce makes sure that it's not like overly like cutting the roof of my mouth, and that garlic just sends. I need fried garlic on top of all of my calamari, and I might actually try to eat it from now on. That is delicious. I would give that 4.25 out of 5 claws. Here we have this beautiful hazelnut chocolate flan from the Mexico booth, topped with a vanilla cream anglaise. A little whipped cream on top here. Flan. I've had some delicious flan type of desserts. I've had like a corn-based flan. I've had a lot of delicious ones from the Mexico booth. Hazelnut chocolate sounds like something that people will go wild for, especially with this cream anglaise on top. A little wedge on here, like a little pie. A little cutie patootie. Okay. It is like a more thick chocolate pudding that is decadent. You could lose yourself in this dish. You can run a maze through this, you know? Climb it, put miniatures on it. This is like a dessert that should be framed. This is a 5 out of 5 claws. Some Bear says if you love chocolate, or even chocolate hazelnut, you should not skip this dessert.
My beloved friend Lumpia is back, and it is in charge with goodness. I'm probably going to get this multiple times during the festival, so you're probably going to see multiple cuts of this. But today is day one, so day one of festival goodness. If you're someone that has an aversion to spice, do not dip this in the sauce. But if you just eat it by itself, fabulous as far as spiciness goes, but fabulous on its own. I'm excited to eat many of these, and even though at this juncture I have not had everything at the festival, and I'm sure I will mention it in the future when I get more of these are still my favorite. So we'll see how that progresses. You'll see that in this video, but I love this. It's a 5 out of 5. It is a Princessities item. I hope we never lose the lumpia.
La lumpia, returning here to the Citrus Blossom Odyssey Cafe. I'm not really sure what the Odyssey is anymore. A room with very nice decorated animated walls, very orange bird, very citrus. Lumpia probably doesn't belong here, but you know, it's here anyway, and I'm glad to see it returned that familiar smell. Is it traditional lumpia? No, but it's lumpia adjacent, so I'm gonna let it pass, especially if it's still tasty. Go ahead and dip it in the sauce, give it a little twirl, a little dip. Starting off strong. This is probably, to me, the best it's ever started off for a festival so far. Nice crunch. The meat is nice and seasoned. Sweet and sour sauce. Got a little tang to it. A little bit of kick. I wouldn't call it like volcano-esque. It's more like a 1.5 out of 10 on the heat scale. Like very like slight front of the mouth tickle to mid mouth, but tasty. Lumpia is now a staple of Flower and Garden, and honestly, we are lucky to be graced with its presence. I'll give it 5 out of 5 claws. On my Bear Necessities list, it's just that good. That's why I keep coming back.
It's day 2, and we may have gone a little bit overboard with the lumpia. I don't know. It's a lot, but it's all good.
This is an impossible lumpia channel. Now, we use the festivals as a cover to eat as many of these lumpia as we can in the time that we are given, and it will be a lot. You may not see everyone pictured on the table, but this is our 5th order of lumpia in only 2 days. So that tells you where we are. We're just going to keep going. So we have beignets finally making their way across the parks, out of Port Orleans in the Magic Kingdom, and now here at EPCOT in the Citrus Blossom booth. What are beignets doing in the Citrus Blossom booth? Well, they're cinnamon sugar beignets with a lemon sauce on top and then a lemon glaze. And then you have this blueberry compote here on the side. So citrus, and berry on these like miniature beignet bites. Interesting. Even though they're miniature and small, they are much, much closer to the man-catching beignets in Magic Kingdom is ever gonna find. And yes, that is direct shade at Magic Kingdom. I actually like the lemon glaze on it. It works quite well. Then you have the sweetness of the berry compote and cinnamon sugar. The bite form, small nitpick, but honestly, they're really much closer to the Port Orleans beignets than the other Magic Kingdom beignets, and that honestly is the best part. I would give these 4.25 out of 5 claws. I will be sneaking on a tray of these eventually. Probably not today, but again.
Friend, the avocado toast is back, this time with boar skin cheese, which I'm excited for. Bear and I usually put these on our charcuterie boards. I should use a knife and fork, but I'm gonna be uncivilized right now. I gotta say, the cheese does up the ante on the avocado toast. If you can get extra cheese, which you can, you just gotta ask for it, I would say do that because the cheese is really the star of the toast. I would give this a 4.5 out of 5 toast. It is a very much improved avocado toast over the previous years.
Avocado toast is returned to the BrunchCot booth. BrunchCot is still extremely popular. I would say if you're gonna do BrunchCot, come later in the day. We were here right when the park opened and the crowd waiting for BrunchCot to open, made my skin crawl. Come later in the day, no line. But tons of avocado, boar and cheese. They definitely did not skimp on the avocado, even though I feel like overall it's a little smaller. Maybe it's not small in taste. That is how avocado toast should be. 60% avocado, 40% toast. I love what the boursin cheese does. We usually get like either the herb boursin, or I think it's the green onion.
That's this one.
And spread that on crackers or anything on like a charcuterie board. We would get like Unreal meat or even some Unreal bacon when we could find that. Like sausages like cut up. Like it goes pretty well on everything, and it's amazing on this toast. I would give this 4.5 out of 5 claws. Though I feel like it's shrunk, I feel like the taste has taken a level up. I feel like 100% against my will, I'm always being forced to try whatever new incarnation of shrimp and grits Disney is trying to shove down my throat. There are some that are good. There are a lot that are bad. BrunchCot shrimp and grits, they aren't exactly confidence inspiring, but I mean, they're covered, they're seasoned. You got a nice grits on here. They're not very creamy, but then you have the sauce. And we have the shrimp. Don't ruin shrimp and grits for me, or we're gonna have an actual problem. Get some of that sausage in there as well. There you go. Far too big a bite, but we commit to our mistakes. I'm glad the shrimp are served tail off. However, they're slightly overcooked, almost rubbery. The grits, given nothing. I would say that like grits are a blank slate that accept a lot of flavors well. These grits are setting us back. half a century or more. All the flavor is coming from the blackened seasoning on the shrimp, and the shrimp themselves are not all that great. Overall, you're getting what I would call a subpar shrimp and grits. If you've never had shrimp and grits, don't get these. If you've had shrimp and grits before and you like them, don't get this. 2 out of 5 claws. It's probably being nice. Probably nicer than I need to be. The brunch French toast. You have the French toast with the caramel drizzle and the cereal cinnamon cream on top to go with this not cinnamon toast crunch here on the bread. And this looks like your favorite breakfast French toast. Creamy, caramely. Let's hope it cuts well with the spork. It's very toasty. Yeah, this will work. This will work. Yeah. And we get some toast. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Not Cinnamon Toast Crunch. As a young bear cub, one of my favorite guilty pleasures when I first started cooking for myself was I would butter toast. Very simple recipe. And then butter. And then make my own cinnamon sugar from scratch. Not a pre-made. I would mix cinnamon and mix sugar. And then sprinkle that on top of toast. This takes me back to literally that. Obviously, I wouldn't be adding the cereal, but this gives me reflections of childhood, like Ratatouille style. I actually quite love this. Delicious. 4.75 out of 5 claws. I would smear this in my own face, just for the ability to taste more of it. So, this huge new school bread innovation is the actual lemon bowl. It's a cardamom-filled bun with lemon curd and then meringue on top. Just as large as a school bread, but more of a seasonal option. I'm going to try to cut this boy. You can see how far down the lemon curd goes. It's a deep hole. Deep and full of magic. And honestly, now that I've cut it, looks like I'd actually just finger this thing. Should mine out of gutter, it's just the food. But yeah, it's a pretty boy. That's how tall the custard should be. There are those of you who are fairly new to our community, welcome, who sometimes question why I would continue to eat foods that I don't like. Because it's if you don't like it, why are you a food reviewer? Why do you eat this? Reviewing food isn't all about eating things that you like. This would be, and I've said it many a time, an extremely boring channel. If I only eat things that I like, I would be a shiki-sai every video. However, you come across things that change your mind, change your perception of things that maybe you didn't like in the past. Maybe one day I'll like okra, not likely. Maybe one day I will crave lima beans, also not likely. I also don't love lemon flavors, but I love lemonade. This is probably the first dessert in a long time to convince me that lemon may actually be useful somewhere other than in a sugary beverage. The cardamom with the meringue sort of balances out, so while it's a really strong lemon, it's a lemon I can do. And honestly, I like it more than I thought that I would. Being lemon, I actually don't want to throw this in the lake, but honestly, I want to eat the whole thing. I give that a 4.25 out of 5 paws. Maybe this new booth here normally has some uses. If they continue to do things like this, we might be regulars here. I have satisfied my ravenous appetite, at least for this weekend.
I watched Bear eat a lot of really gross things, and I laughed at him at some of the things he didn't like. So, I don't know, what was your favorite thing you had, Bear?
Honestly, I think my favorite thing I had this year was the grouper sandwich from the Florida booth here at the CommuniCore. It was a very, very tasty sandwich, and honestly, I was expecting it to be god-awful, but it was actually quite good. After that, I would probably say, I had to probably go with my jerk chicken, but that feels like cheating at this point.
Yeah, well, that's not new, but that's fine. Not everything that we tried here was new, just most of the things. Of course, there are new things for us to continue to try. We didn't get to our entire list, but when CommuniCore changes their menu, Farmer Fresh, whatever
Yes.
it's called, we will go back and add some more things.
Yes, but we want to know what you think of everything I tried today. Did you have a favorite? Is there something you look forward to or something that we missed? The comments, the little place down there, will always be the place to find us. Hit that notification bell if you want to see other videos like this, and
We have new videos 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday.
we'll see you soon.
Be sure to subscribe and like this video. And if you don't comment, I think Bear will yeet himself into a tree and fall. And he's not a springbok. Like, that's just not how the force works. He's a bear. He's gonna hurt himself.
You heard the girl.